All right. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are on this beautiful planet. Welcome to the Inner Circle Live Asian session. I'm your host for tonight's session, Denny Allen, and I'm definitely happy and grateful to be here with each and every one of you as we look to close out the week. Take a look at the technicals, take a look at the fundamentals to see what we can take advantage of in this amazing Forex market. It's the gift that keeps on giving. We just have to be patient. So, let's make sure that we turn off any and all distractions, grab a pen and paper, take lots of notes, and let's make sure that we participate and engage. So, with that being said, if everybody can hear me, ready to close out the week, drop me a one in the chat. Let me know that you're ready to go, and we will get right to it. I don't have too much to cover for tonight. A couple subjects I want to take a look at. And we'll wrap things up. So let me see, let me check. I'm getting all the ones coming in. Awesome. And I believe that everybody has control over their microphone. Okay, so let's get right to it. All right, come on over. Take a quick look at trading economics. We can see Japan inflation rate edges down to a 6-month low. Why is that important? All right, because we know that the Bank of Japan, even with the new leadership, has pretty much remained committed to their ultra low, right? Ultra loose monetary policy. You don't see them raising rates. And so when you see that the inflation rate edges down to a 6-month low, right, that doesn't really, that doesn't serve to be a data point that gives incentive to the Bank of Japan to raise rates. Okay, so that's what we need to know about that yen. Okay, we know that currencies have been running long against the yen. Okay, so the yen's been fairly weak for the most part. Okay, that doesn't mean that pairs don't get corrected, but overall, pairs have been trending up against the Japanese yen. UK consumer moved highest in over a year. Okay, so that's coming off of inflation data. Okay, so which we know now that hey, the Bank of England's going to have to make a decision on those rates coming up at their next meeting. And now we got consumer mood. The sentiment is the highest in over a year. Okay, that's positive, right? So we know that we've had a pretty bullish pound as of late. Okay, so that plays right into that narrative. And then we've got the ECB, the European Central Bank, to continue tightening. And we know that the euro has been the bull, right, in the shop right now. So we can take a look at this. This was from 13 hours ago. Policymakers agreed to raise key interest rates by 50 basis points the last month. We know that, though some members would have preferred not to increase them until the financial market tensions had subsided, but they did it anyway, right? The accounts of the central bank's March policy meeting showed still the ECB officials widely concurred on the resilience of the euro area banking system, noting that the central bank had further ground uncovered in adjusting the monetary policy stance to ensure a timely return of inflation to target. Okay, so looking ahead, the bank assessed risk to inflation is tilted to the upside over the entire horizon, with some policymakers arguing that there was only a small probability that the CPI rate would fall back to low levels as quickly as suggested in the March ECB staff projections. The ECB is set to deliver a 25 basis point rate increase in May, and other two are expected. Another two are expected by mid-year, after raising borrowing costs at least at the fastest pace on record to combat inflation. Right. So we know that euro has been moving to the upside, so that narrative is going to continue. Over forexfactory.com, right? We want to make sure we're checking this every single day. U.S. unemployment claims came through. The forecast was 240, came through at 245. Okay. Fed manufacturing index came in at negative 31.3 on a forecast of negative 19.1. All right. Then we had Bank of Canada Governor Macklin spoke today. Let me see if there's anything. I haven't had a chance to read through it. Inflation is coming down quickly. We forecast it to be around 3% this summer. Okay. So just think about it, right? Target range is 2%. So a lot of times they say 2-3%. So they're expected to be around 2-3% this summer. We expect Canadian GDP growth to be weak for the rest of the year, before beginning to pick up gradually in 24 through 25. All righty, right? So that's some data for us on the Canadian dollar, right? So we know that in their last meeting they held rates, and going forward, right? They said that they wouldn't rule out, just not too long ago, wouldn't rule out the possibility of raising rates if they had to. But this message here today, from the BOC governors, hey, they're expected to be around 3%, but they also expect GDP growth to be weak for the rest of this year. So we'll continue to watch the CAD and watch the oil price, but dovish type tone. So we'll continue to watch that. Any questions on any of those fundamentals? That's some key information for us to know there.
No.
Good. All right. Appreciate it. Let me see here. Okay. Welcome, Lorraine. David, welcome. All right. So you should have control over your mics. So let's take a look at it, right? DXY is doing its thing. Okay. Still bouncing around. We're gonna end that week neutral. Most likely. Okay. Let me take a look at what's going on tomorrow. Take a look back at this calendar. Friday, can't miss this. Now we've got we got all types of stuff. PMI data coming out. Okay, for the Eurozone here. GDP retail sales. Now we're looking at an article that says UK consumer moved the highest in over a year. So it'd be interesting to see the retail sales number coming out of the pound. That could be a mover. That's at 2 a.m. Flash PMI for the UK. So it's and then we got PMI for the United States. It's gonna be busy tomorrow. Busy. I've been super busy. I almost missed it. So that's a lot. That's a lot going on tomorrow. So we may see some volatility as we close out the week on a Friday, right? So let's take a look at the dollar. Kind of bouncing around. We saw that on the weekly. We can see it's just kind of moving sideways. But right on our UJ move that we were taking a look at, we got the correction pretty decent, right? So we were still not to that CP1 yet, but we turned over pretty good, right? Coming off these up, we pushed up. See how we pushed up to that zone there, and then we turned right over. So off that daily, right, where we at right now? Like 100 pips off that daily resistance level, right in that zone. So that's a good setup there at the 127 right now. If you took it off the B boundary, right, you made some profit, but then it reversed on you. So you might have been in drawdown. You were holding a B boundary position, but you're just about right. You know, you're in profit now, all right? You're in profit. So you got two positions in profit. You said one at the B boundary, one at that level, you're back in profit. So that's a good setup. Okay, so think about it. If you're managing that trade, okay, and you entered at these levels, you're up pretty decent. We're getting close to this daily, right? So if I'm only playing this to the 382, if that's your thought process, and you're thinking about getting out, just be aware that you're coming into a daily support just before that target at 133.73. So just continue to monitor that setup, but that's pretty good off the B boundary move right now, 33 pips. Then you're about 100 out of that 127 zone. Okay, so that is the UJ. Continue to correct to the downside. Now, you know, continue to watch it because this one could be a tricky one because of the dollar weakness, but you don't have the strongest yen either, right? But everything's been moving up for the most part against the yen. So look at it here. Okay, got a little channel action going on. If we come below, right, that 134.03, we may just continue to see further declines to the downside. So it's already moving to the downside, and we're definitely overbought on that. So that might eventually keep moving, right? So this could be a tricky one. This is the 4-hour fib here, right, where you got that reversal, right? So we could, you know, see a further downside move. I don't have. Thought I had that level coming down. There we go. So here we are. So just continue to watch it. Continue to watch it. See what happens with it. All right. And so moving, right? We've got a corrective move now, right? That B to C type of move on the dollar yen key support. All right. We'll see if it holds or if it continues to move to the downside tomorrow. We got a lot of news coming up. So it'll be quite interesting. Okay. If you're thinking, yeah, the dollar's weak, but the yen is, I'd like to buy against the yen with this dollar, you need a low price anyway, right? It's always safer to wait for that low price if you're going to buy something. Okay. Any questions on the dollar yen? Okay. All right. So that's been that was a decent move. I want to take a look at this cash Swissy play because it's coming into some key levels that it may. Just taking a quick look at this earlier. Like that's cash Swiss. It's coming into uh, CAD. Yeah, we'll take a look at it. We'll take a look at this one first. And it is right. We are coming right back into this low. So think about where we are. Let's zoom out to the monthly. Okay. Just paying attention to this because, right, we just read that data from Canada. And this is pressing, right? This is a major low, everybody. Look at that. That is at the bottom. So it is retesting this level. And now we got a rejection last time and it's coming back. So I'm watching this one closely to see if it's going to hold again and if price wants to reverse. But this is right. So that would, if it holds, you're looking at a double bottom. Okay. And so we know that that CAD is declining, but what I'm trying to see is, are we going to get a correction on this move? I mean, if it breaks the level and it continues down, then we're breaking and retesting, just going to keep moving down. But if that level forms, right, uh, support, right, especially if it comes right back down to this level, then this is one of those scenarios where it's like, you know what? I am going to deploy my trend lines and just wait and see if we get a reaction off that level. Because I'm always interested to see how the market reacts. Who all's watching these when it comes into these key levels. So, I mean, it's sitting pretty low right now. You got a 1 hour support, may come down and take that out and keep pushing lower. So you see how the angles, right? The varying degrees on these trend lines as the momentum continues to move faster and faster to the downside. It's gonna let it kind of sit, do its thing. Because eventually, if it does settle and we see buying pressure to the upside, then we want to watch it break. Right. Let's see it make a move, right? Especially if it gets through this level. We'll see. This might be a reversal point. Never know. It's a strong bearish candle that got held up. So we'll continue to watch it. We want to see it make its way down. And if we get that reaction, dang. I want to be able to take advantage of that at some point. We just have to be patient. So something like that. Pull back. Yeah. Oops. We look to get long. So we look for reversal. Okay. Like that. We are going to just let price do its thing for now, but just be on alert because this is coming down towards a major low. Right. It's like the bottom. Okay. So it would have to create a new low if it wants to continue the first new low in quite some time. Right. So this low got put in 2020. Okay. We all know what happened, right? So this is your pandemic low there. Right. It's been doing the dance ever since. But now we broke it. We're coming right back into pandemic lows there. So it'd be interesting to see get a reaction and a correction for whatever reason. So we'll continue to watch the fundamental data to see what happens. Any questions on the cats? All right. Okay. Let's look at this CAD again. See what we got going on. We're into from the higher time frame. Yep. Hold on one second, Jeremy. My bad. All right, you're all set.
Thank you.
Yep. Got a question?
Not yet.
All right. Cool. So here we are. So we pushed up on this against this yen, but we're coming. Look, we're right here. That's a nice round number, right? That 100 level. We're right back there again, and you can see we've got a push to the downside. So here, right, it's doing a dance, but it's respecting this level, right? We know we've got that 382 up ahead. Okay. So we want to see if we focus in, right? We know we've got this long-term target, right? But if I take this off, okay, we just look at this price action game. Okay, we've got a reaction at this level. You guys see here. Okay? How we pushed down, but we didn't close, right? So we pretty much double bottomed at that level, and we got a reaction. So now here, you got a stochastic, right? That's overbought. Okay, it's in the sell zone. So, right, and we see that the momentum to the upside slowed down, and now we're correcting. So if I'm just focusing in right here on this leg, this is beautiful, right? Higher highs and higher lows. Look how that came back to test this level at 97.11, and now we're at 99.17. So what I'm looking for, and this is going to tell the tale, do we hold here? Okay. Do we hold here? So let's take a look at where we are. Okay. This, isn't that beautiful how that plays out? It's pretty good symmetry there. So now we got our fibs running on this bad boy, and it's saying, man, you are in the 80-20 zone. You're in the 80-20 zone on the 4. Okay. So this is where it gets interesting. If you're playing, if somebody's short on this right there, you're probably up pretty good, right? Yeah, it's pretty good. You're playing it out of that zone. Now, it's making this move. So once again, we got a reaction out of the 80-20 zone. Good confluence with that daily level at 100. Okay. Now, this is going to be our test, right? We come down to this 99 level. Okay. So this, right? We got misalignment. Our stochastic is in the buy zone on the 4. Okay. So that's where it's at in the cycle. So this is going to be key right here at this 99.17 level. No, projected off this 80-20, we can see that 382 come into play. So if I'm in this, who asked about this? Brandy, are you in this or are you just watching it?
I'm still in it. I had 2 positions and my broker didn't close me out because it hit my TP1.
Oh, really?
Yeah, on the 1 hour. It hit
Okay,
my
you're playing.
TP1.
Okay, so you're playing it. Oh, yeah. Because it was on both sides. That's right. It was on both. It was playing it. So it's good. That's good.
I closed out of it, but I still have it run into my next TP.
Yeah, congratulations on that. That's good. Good. So yeah, so this is going to be a key level here to see if we hold. You got a stochastic in the buy zone here too. It's going to be interesting. All right. So we're going to look for, right? If you're playing it to the downside, right? If you're up pretty good, you have to make a decision, right? It's coming into your TP1. At this point, it depends on how you play it, right? So some people may be out right now. If you're playing this 1 hour correction, hey, I hit my 382 target, I'm done. If you're still in it, you may say, okay, I got daily support here. Maybe I'll take 50% of the trade off, close it out. Maybe I'll take 75% off, close it out, and then maybe adjust my stop to break even and see if we can get it to move further to the downside as it comes into the daily support, right? So now it's just all about trade management. If you're playing this counter move, right? But that's beautiful how that played out. They tried to push beyond it twice, right? Couldn't hold bullish momentum. Came right back below that daily support and corrected. Right? Beautiful, beautiful move to the downside. Okay. So that's where we are. Now, you've got, obviously, right? We've got the CAD showing some weakness. We know that the yen hasn't been the strongest. Okay. Haven't had a chance to look at the overall market sentiment right now. The yen is a safe haven at times, right? So we know if the market sentiment starts to sour, and we get more data that comes out, we're looking at some growth issues globally and things like that people get concerned, they can move their money into that yen, and you'll see that yen get stronger. But right now, this is strictly off of Canadian weakness, right? Right, that was very powerful, right? What the BOC governor said today. And you got this moving down, and you probably got, if we go and we take a look at oil. Right? Look at that. Oh, that's a good rejection. Look at how that's looking to close out the week, everybody. Levels matter. This 82.62 is just stuck, right? Look at that. It's just stuck, right? We're continuing to move down. All right, so we're right on the money with that. Now look. That's textbook there. All right. So now it just becomes at some point, right? Might not prior to get to that extension. We look for it to correct, right? At some point, we'll look, buyers will come in, we'll push that price up, retest that level at some point, probably at 79.36 level. So you've got a Bank of Canada governor saying, hey, we expect that inflation is slowing. we're saying 3% by summer. So people are like now, like, well, what's the incentive for them to continue hiking rates, which is, is good for currency. Then they're like, well, we're projecting growth, slower growth through the end of 2023, picking up in 2024 and 25. So in the short term, slower growth. You got oil prices declining, #1 commodity for Canada. So it's like down goes the loonie, right? It's going down. It's going down. Right? It all comes together. So if we go back to that CAD yen, if it breaks that that next daily level, then we'll probably see further decline. All right. And just from a technical perspective, you look at it, like look what happened the last time. Like it came into this level right? It moved back down. Okay. So maybe we range, who knows, right? It's kind of hard to tell the future. Right now, I know this counter trend move here, this 80-20, is spot on to the downside. And so we're coming into support, right? So I'm not selling it now, not buying it now, right? We're just gonna see what happens with its reaction at support. So that's my thoughts on that. Any questions? Hope that helped.
Oh,
Right. So here we are, right? You can see it still pressing down, still pressing down. So if you take everything off, right? There, if you take this off and you just look at it, right? What's that price action telling us there? Okay. Coming into the zone, we're gonna test it. If we break, this is on the 4, right? You got some zones here. But if we break this level, you just think down to the next zone. Okay. Down to the next zone. These 4-hour levels here. And sometimes, right, if you don't like a lot of stuff on your charts or anything, you can easily use the fibs, pick your spot. Okay, I know I'm in the 80-20 zone up here, and I've got good confirmation, good confluence with the daily level. If you're saying, hey, if I see too much on my chart, I get confused. Once you mark your levels out and just take them off. Right. I do that from time to time. Just take them off and just look at the price action. I know why I'm getting this reaction up here. Okay. I know it hit my key zone on my fib. I've got a key daily level. We got rejection before. So now it's like, okay, now I've got my direction and what price is doing. And now it's like, okay, well, let's look to make a play. Keep it as simple as possible. Keep your charts as clean as possible. All right. It's a beautiful play. If you like trading trend line breaks, okay, and you have the time, right, to be around, right? This is a 4-hour trend line break, right? Boom. If you like doing that, you have that patience, you're not limiting in and letting trade swing, that's your move. Okay. Just broke that 100 level right away and tried to come back to that level to test it as resistance, and it couldn't do it. Right? Look at that bullish, that bearish engulfing candlestick. You commit these type of setups to memory. See that? Push sideways, tried to test, break back above, could bear's too strong. So now you can just say back down to support. Okay. That's it. Right? Back here. Back to support. It's good work. It's good work. Absolutely, Beneath. Beautiful. That's beautiful, right? Candlesticks, a sign language of the market. Bearish engulf, it moves sideways. You got a bearish engulf, it broke past the trend line eventually. That's man, you live for those, right? But look, all because you have a little knowledge. It says, hey, price, because it's like the confirmations help you kind of filter things. Okay. We've got a bunch of support and resistance levels on here, right? So what can help me determine the high probability of price reversing off of one of those levels when as compared to another one, right? So if I'm comparing levels, well, we like to use the fibs, right? We can use the fibs for that. Like, oh, I'm in the 80-20 zone. I've got a daily level here. Okay, this might be my level. This might be my level here. So it's just extra confirmation. That's all we're doing. That's it. All right. You could drop that down, you could play that off to 15. You can look at that. Look at this move. All right. That's the 5, I mean. That's the 5. And you can see that move turning over. This is the 15. Look at that. That's just clean, right? That's just a nice, clean move. It's a tighter fit there. All right. Pretty cool to watch. Pretty cool to watch. All right. So that's the CAD yen. I want to take a look at this pound Swissy. Look at some of these price levels. Okay. As we are coming into, hey, look at this support, how that's holding. Okay. So we're paying attention to that. Okay. Paying attention to that. See how you got, look. Fairly equal lows. It's gonna break out somewhere. Okay. It's gonna break out somewhere. So eventually, right? So we're just zooming in on this here. So I'm interested to see, right, if we're gonna start to find support, potentially get a move back up. Right. So we can see this here now. So yeah, we got in the buy zone here on the 4. Okay. We got in the buy zone here on the daily. Look at our 1. Ooh. Okay. Starting to form the lows. So now I'm thinking, oh my. Right. Might be setting up to catch that off the low. If it is, this is the direction it wants to start heading. Right, we can be patient. Okay. So, okay. So here's the move in the break back up above 111, 4 hour. Okay, resistance. There's a tighter, more aggressive trend line there. in the trend line break. We're in 127 off that 15. Wonder if we can come back down and if that holds, right? So something like this. If we can get it, it might not, it might go there. That's okay. Look at the reset. But we've got an inner trend line break there. See, we got a sideways consolidation and breakout. See here. See how price pushed sideways and broke out? So the question is, do we continue to move up from here, hit that extension, or do we actually get a pullback? Either way, it's giving us a pretty good reaction off the lows. So what I can do is I'm interested in seeing what that looked like on the 5. Similar type of scenario on the 5 minute. So I would love to get a check back at 110.93. Right. Okay. Get a bit of a check back 110.93 if possible. May not happen, but I'm going to put my stop it over there, get this check back, and play the trend line break. Like so. I don't know if that'll happen on this fib, but if not, then we look for the next setup. But I wonder, we got the news at 2 a.m. The early morning pound news paid out big for us this week on the pound CAD that moved to the upside because it pushed it right through the target. So we'll see what happens at 2 a.m. this time. On this particular setup to see what happens. So this is right, your aggressive move there with that inner trend line. But a move back above this 111.22 in a retest, right, where you've broken this outer trend line and you've broken this key 4-hour level will be beautiful, right? Because to get back right to that outer trend line is 40, close to 70 there. So that's just how you can play like that. This is why we mark that support and resistance from those higher time frames. Okay. And you can see how I don't have, besides that fib that I put to the upside, this is just looking at levels, everybody. Right? What could be possible? What possibly could be happening next if price finds support? Okay. So we shall see. Any questions on that pound Swissy? I thought that was an interesting setup to look at. Oh, all right. Okay. So the other one, right? Let's take a look at this Aussie CAD. Okay. So we know what's going on with the Canadian dollar. I read it from the day, so we can see here on the weekly, right? We got this pullback and a nice bullish candle here. So we may close out this. Look at that. Okay. So we run the possibility of forming a new low here. So that would be what? Here's a low. This would be a higher low if that holds and continues to go bullish and we get a swing low here. We don't have it yet, but as we move to the daily though, bam, this is going to be quite interesting, right? Look at that move there up against that 89.50 level. And we have now broken this downtrend line. So maybe, right, it's time to move to the upside on the Aussie CAD. Maybe we're about to swing. Maybe we've retraced enough. Okay. Double bottom. And look at that explosive move there. So 4-hour lagging span above the cloud, Kumo twist, positive, It's a huge bullish candle. Right? We expect the market to take back some of that. Be interested to see if we can get it to break back below. Give us a low price, right? New fib. That should be a new fib now. Hasn't caught up yet. Okay. But here's your A, B, C, D extension was hit. Here's your fib. We've got 2 to the left, 2 to the right. We're correcting. Okay. So we say, hey, maybe we can get a move. Okay. Back to the downside, right to one of our levels and get long. If that narrative is going to continue, it's already playing out on the one. You see, I can take this out now because the smart fib took care of me. See that there? It's activated. So I can delete my little fib that I was anticipating. So now, for 1 hour, this is pretty nice. We got a fib up AV boundary above the cloud. So now the question becomes, if my trade plan says it's 61.8 or deeper, I need this level to break, that 90.67. I need this to come straight down and hold. And then we look at possible long, like this. Okay. Like that. Okay. Because if I'm saying, hey, I'm trading with this trend and I think this trend is going to move up, CAD is going to continue to weaken, Ozzy shows some strength. Well, now I need a low price. Okay. A trade plan calls for me to have my low price 61.8 or deeper. I need this correction. Cloud's giving me some extra confirmation. All right. Above the cloud, if that holds, and I look to get long. So, okay, so now I'm looking at a setup. All right, I can move here. Okay. It's 151 pips, right? So at that point, the risk would be, what is that? Call it 50 pips. That'd be a 3 to 1, 150 for 50. All right, beautiful thing, these fibs here. Now, what you can do is we need this price to correct to this level. Okay, so I'll show you guys something. For those of you who like trading on tighter time frames, that's your thing. So this is the Aussie CAD. So you may say, I like using 1 hour fibs, but I like my entry, right? If I'm a day trader, right? You say this works across all time frames. Benny, what do you mean? How do you play that? Well, like this. So we've got a 15 and a 5-minute chart. Okay. And I want to take these levels down. So I'm going to take this off right now because I don't want to drag my fib. I don't want to drag that down just yet. Just take my levels. So take those down to the time frame, put everything back. So you can say, you know what? You can either take this fib down, your 1 hour, trace over it, take it down to the 15 if you want, or you can just mark your levels and say, well, so I'll show you both things, right? Trace over it. Take it down to the 15 like that, or the 5. And now you've got this fib at these levels. Or if you don't want to bring that fib down, then you would just mark your levels. So like, okay, this is a 1 hour, 61.8. This. Bang. Pull this down. And then you just say, you know what, I'll just take the horizontals down. I don't want to bring that fib down. 786 like this. Okay. You do it like that. So what you can do is once price comes down to these levels, we're looking for price to reverse. So if you're day trading that, you come down to like your 5-minute time frame. And you can say, okay, These are my target zones. So this here is my 1 hour, 61 hour, 61.8. Okay. This 1 hour, 78.6. This, bam. Okay. So these are my downside targets if I want to get long. Like these are my discounted prices. And so even if I didn't bring this fib down, I can just mark my levels. So I'm doing this because once I get to these levels, I say these are low prices I want to buy. So I'm going to let the price action do just that. Let it come on down to this level. Like this. But what I'm going to do is while I sit here and I wait on my 5 minute or my 15 or whatever you like to trade on, guess what I'm going to do? I am going to deploy a trend line. Like this. Bam. So you see here, I don't have any fibs or anything. This is just price action. And I've got my low prices marked out. And I'm looking for a price to reverse at those levels. Bam. So now that I got a beat on it for my 1 hour fib, all I'm going to do is I'm going to wait like this. If it forms a low here and it breaks, boom. When it breaks trend line and forms a high, I'm then going to put my fib on it like that. Now I'm coming to my key level, my low price. I'm looking for a reaction. This is on the 5 minute chart, everybody. So this is how you can use this strategy, right? This philosophy, no matter what. So now I've got trend line break is reacted. Guess what? Just using a 5 minute fib like this. Still using my rules. If my buy price is the 61.8, I'm running it off this fib on the 5. Guess what I'm going to do? My stop right here underneath the A of the sub fib. Boom. Like so. A, B, C, D. I just did that. So now this is how I've used a 1 hour fib to find me a wave on the 5 minute. Because your lower time frames are just fractals of your higher time frames. They're just smaller replicas of your higher time frame. Smaller waves. That's why we always use the tree example, right? The tree branch is just a smaller replica of the tree trunk. The twig is just a smaller replica of the tree branch. Go look at it sometimes in spring. Right? And just look at it. That's exactly what this is. So that's how you can get into a smaller setup. Hey, I like trade on the 5 minute to 15 minute. Well, okay. So you're just going to trade the smaller ABCD wave. You still want a high probability reversal point off of that, say that 1 hour time frame. Right? So I like to go from, hey man, I like to use my 4 hour for my direction, my 1 hour for my low price. Well, it's your low price. And I like to enter on the 5. Right? So you're just going to wait and see if that plays out for you. Questions on that? Comments? Need anything repeated?
Yep. Benny, just a quick one.
Mhm.
In reference to the swing newsletter, and there was how do you call it? You posted a trade of a GBP card on it, and the fib looked like you copy the 4 hour or something to the 1 hour.
I did. That's what I did. I brought it down. Yep.
Yeah, and when I tried to use the smart fib on the hour, I couldn't figure out exactly how you
I
got
did.
that.
Yeah, I had to go back and take a look at that because I brought it down from the higher time frame.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But I was mainly trying to, because I actually started out looking at that with just support and resistance levels on
Okay.
that pound CAD, because this is where the idea started, was here. Right here. See that on the daily?
Yeah.
And I was just trying to use the fib principles just to give me some confirmation for that low, and bringing it down from the higher time frame. It worked. It just worked spot on with it. So I pulled it down to the one, because I know that's where most of the setups were coming from. But that thing is still moving, right?
Yeah.
That's still moving. We didn't get a check. Well, it was at the 127. We didn't get a check back on that at all. I was hoping to get a correction and then another position, but that's gone. Like that's running. We're coming into a key level now. There, right? So yeah, we didn't get any type of, but hey man, words matter, right? We read that, like that's important. Came right out the gate and opened the statement. Like inflation's coming down quickly. We forecast to be around 3% this summer. It's like, okay, you're probably not gonna raise rates. Right? Summer, that's just around the corner. And then they expect the growth to be weak the rest of the year. It's like, oh, okay. Down goes the cat. All right. So but when you see that, right, happen fundamentally like that, sellers aren't coming in too strong at that point. Just not gonna get the correction. Right? But the reaction was, buy side against the cat. And then you got an oil price decline. So that's what you get, that type of practices. But yeah, that's what happened, Jeremy. I brought it down because I spotted it on a daily, because I'm looking like, okay, we've got a weekly D extension, right? That price is trying to tap into. See that?
Yeah.
Right. I'm like, that's drawing close. You got resistance there. So I'm just looking like that's sitting pretty high. Like, is ranging. I could tell that that's moving sideways. So what's the range looking like? This is where it showed up at on the daily. That's where it showed up at. Then it just moved. So that's a pretty big. I know through TP2 it was like 200 pips, but that's 260 or so to the top of that range. So that was a pretty good move, And we always say like that. Just the fibs give us extra confirmation. That's why we harp so hard on, man. Listen, do your top down analysis. Market levels first. Market levels first, because you could literally. I drew that fib to the downside because when I was working my way down, I was tracking that move. But how you could have played this is exactly what's going on now, right? And for some of you, you may say, you know what, that clicks for me, right? That may click for you. Think about it. You may say, so we'll take all of this out. These fibs. That may help, especially in the beginning, right? And you may adopt that and say, you know what, I just want to trade like. I'm gonna do what the trainer says and mark my top-down analysis, do my key levels. And when I see price make a move and come into key levels, especially that is revisiting, right? And retesting. And I can look left and see like, man, I got a reaction. That's just old school price action, everything. Old school. They all new types of fancy names for it. There's nothing new under the sun. This is just some horizontal diagonal lines and things on the screen, and the price is moving up and down and sideways. And we've got these things on here that they call candlesticks that tracks data, right, based on the time frame. Okay, that's it. But when you have price come down into a level like this and it's holding, you can say, okay, what time frame do I like to trade? All right, well, I like to go from my monthly, weekly, daily to the 1. Okay, I like to go from my monthly, weekly, daily to the 4. Or I like trading on the 15. Well, man, listen, when you have, right, price comes down to these key levels, come down as you anticipated coming into that level, deploy your trend lines, right? Deploy your trend lines. We want to try to get to the lowest point. Okay, well, this is moving through. Just move sideways a bit, right? Get weird on us. That's okay. Because we're just trying to find our position. Now, we know ultimately where that's going to lead straight down. Okay. It's a fairly impulsive move off this level. Okay. Right. It's clean on the lower time frames. Okay. So, hey, that's a 4-hour candle. Right. That's kind of hard to ignore. Okay. I've got this huge bullish candle right here that just snapped trend line and held at support. Okay. So you make a decision there. Do I want to go ahead and be patient after this bullish candle and wait for my swing low to form? To the right, and then look to put my stop below this low, okay, and get in? Or do I say, hey, based on my trade plan, if I get a trend line break, bullish engulfing candle that closes beyond the trend line like it did here, my stochastics in my buy zone, in those scenarios, I take the trade. I take the trade. Not gonna wait on an official swing low. I'm gonna take the trade, live with the results. Okay. But now I'm moving long. And after that, you can say, I'm going from level to level, or I'm setting myself up for a 2-to-1 here based on where I enter. So if I entered off this bullish candle close, that's 80 pips. I'm going for 160. We all know you'd have got that, right? However you want to play it from there. Or if I'm on my lower time frames, or I want to wait for a pullback, if I want to deploy my fibs, after that, this was so impulsive, you didn't get much of it. So, you have to determine that. But if it makes sense for you to just go from your top down, and right, you don't have to use any fibs at all if you want to. That just lets me know that I can get a major reaction to the downside once that extension is hit on the weekly. That's a weekly extension. But you can simply play this, right, and say, okay, I'm moving down through my time frames. This is moving bullish. Can I find a low price? Yeah, I came into support. Draw your trend lines on a lower time frame and look for the breaks. Or go down to your lower time frames and say, I want to play a wave eventually. And now, say I want to enter off my 1-hour chart. Maybe I don't start using my fibs until I get down to my 1 hour or my 4, whatever your mother chart is going to be to trade, right? But from that monthly, weekly, daily, maybe you just say, I'm going to use support and resistance levels. And I'm going to look for trend line breaks and reactions off those levels on my lower time frames. And then I can put a fib in if I want to. Right. That's for that way. Okay. And you can go all the way down through the levels. Like it happened on all the levels. It's not like, oh, it happened on the 4 and the 1, but it didn't happen on the 15 or the 5. It's happening on every level. Look at that. Right. So if I'm trading this on the 15, I'm not gonna buy that. Right. I got a shallow retracement If that hits that D extension, then this is my C. So then look, I've broken inner and outer trend line. I'm waiting on that D extension to get hit if I'm using my fib, and then I'm gonna wait on the correction. And then look to get long. All right, if I'm trading with the trend. Hey, I like this UK pound narrative, pound strength. You know, I like that CAD to continue to decline off that message that was sent today. Right. Then I'm looking for low prices on the pound CAD. I'm gonna buy it. Right. They say I don't even want to play 80-20s or anything. I'm bullish the pound. I need low prices against the CAD. I'm bullish the pound. I'm bearish the yen. I need low prices against the yen. Then you just have to be patient and wait for that low price to occur. Make sense, everybody? Yes, no?
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome. Awesome. But don't skip Brandy broke me. So made me so mad that they hit TP1 and didn't take me. Yeah. So here, remember, right, like we talked about it. Not sure if you are on or not, you may not have been. But I always, with my TVs, because of spreads and just because of price action and things like that. So if I say I have a TP at my 382, I'm always on all my TP levels. I never ever, so we'll draw it up. When we draw it up for you guys, we're gonna put it at the level because that's, hey, but what you have, know this, okay? Here's a little nugget. I'm always gonna put my TP level, right? When I put it in my phone, I'm gonna put it just above the target, that level, right? Because of those occurrences, I've just learned that over time. So even if I'm in a C to D move, okay, and my take profit is at the 1.618, I'm always going to put it. So for example, let me show you guys something. All right. I don't have it fired up now, but let's go to Euro USD. Okay. So say I want to, like I haven't fired it up in a while, but I have on here power fib. Okay. So I can come in here on my power Fibonacci, right? Attachment, and I can trade. You see this here? So I can program the current fib, whatever that current fib is, to take trades at certain levels. Okay. So I can go on here and say, allow my trading current fib only. Right. So say I had a new AB boundary and I'm saying, okay, use 5% rule within 5% of the level. You can do that. Okay. You can turn that off and you can say, for example, well here, 5% of the level. So that means that when it comes within 5% of my level, say I want to take a trade at the 786, it's going to automatically, right, take me in at that level, 5% before that level. That's what that represents, right? And then whatever I want my lot size to be, okay? So it's going to take me in. So even when you use like a power fib tool, it gives you the option to say, hey, do I want to get in right before, get in right before it hits that level, because price can react. So you can see here for my stop, do I want my stop to be 10%, right, beyond the A, or do I want it to be 10 pips? I want it to be 10 pips, right? From my D, see how you can take profit? Okay, you can go 10%, whatever percentage you want, or I want price to take profit, when it gets within 10 pips of my D extension. So I'm not gonna take profit right at 115, 326. I'm probably gonna take profit right here, right around that area. Okay. So if you're manually doing this the same way, so if you're saying, hey, I want to take this 61A setup and you're gonna use a limit for it, I'm gonna take that setup right here. Okay, somewhere in there. I'm not gonna take it right there. Because what happens, it's like, hey, and it's not perfect. Right? You can still do that and then this is the trade or this is your TP and price reverses, because sometimes it depends on the speed and momentum of the market, right? To where it can just slip and just miss your order, taking your order because maybe it was a huge impulse move that moved through your order and it didn't pick it up. You know what I mean? It's not an exact science, but that's just one little tip and one nugget is that, hey, I like to set them before my key levels that I like to get in to try to give me a better chance that if I have a buy limit here, that it's going to get picked up. Or if I have a TP level here at the 382, it's going to get picked up. All right. Any questions on that? Oh, you remember the training? Okay. Yeah. I forget sometimes too, you know. So, but that's just a little bit because you never know how price is going to react. So, any questions on anything that we covered tonight? No. Good. All right. All right. You all are an awesome group. Let's continue to make progress, continue to reach out, either ask questions during these sessions, right? Or go ahead. I'm sorry. Sorry.
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Or just send us a message. You know, hey, I'm having a challenge here. You know, let us know, you know, so we can help you get to where you want to get to. So that being said, everybody have a great night. We'll be back 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Saturday for the weekly ritual as we get prepared for the week. Okay. Good night, everybody.
Right.
Thank you.